Okay, good morning guys, or good afternoon. I'm not sure when you're watching this. Today we're going to be rounding to the nearest 10. So what you're going to do is watch my video today and then do your work on your own. And then you can pop in at 11:20 if you have questions, and if not, then you are free to go and I will just collect your work later on Friday. Alright, so we're going to be rounding to the nearest 10, and there's different ways to do it. So we did it in class yesterday where we actually underline the tens place and then use the number to the right to help decide what to do, and we talked about 4 or less, let it rest, or 5 or more, raise the score. So today's strategy would be using a hundreds chart, just like you guys talked about in kindergarten, first or second. So this looks like a multiplication chart, but it's actually a hundreds chart, and I can tell because you count normally row by row. Now what you'll notice about this chart is that any number that ends in 5 is colored green. So if you have your instruction workbook, this is page 82. So I'm sorry, I didn't mention that in the beginning. But any number that is highlighted green is in the tens place. And that's because we talked about our rhyme 5 or more, raise the score. So if a number that we work with later is in this column or this way, it'll always round up to the tens over here on the side. So our tens always end in zeros. We wrote those in our notes the other day. We said if you're rounding to the nearest 10, your number should end in one of these numbers. So here is a story problem I'll read to you, and I'll show you what they want you to do on your work today. So it says Allie records the time she spends doing homework. She rounds, and that's important, so I'm going to just squiggle under there. She rounds each time to the nearest 10 minutes, and I'm just going to circle nearest 10 because that's what we need to do. If Allie spends 37 minutes on her homework, how does she record this time? Now since she's rounding, sometimes it'll say about how much, and I told you guys that too. Since she's rounding, her number will end in a 0. So down here they say, alright, and this is what you want to think to yourself, if her number is 37, like they have here, we want to know between what two tens would we find that number. So there's two ways to do that. You can find 37 in the chart, and they already highlighted it blue, and I'm not going to write all over this chart because I'm going to reuse this. But they find 37 and they look to see which two tens it's between. So if you look, the tens are over here, it comes after 37 and it comes before 40. So the two tens that 37 are between are 30 and 40. Okay? Now, you can count how far away 37 is from 40. You can say it's only 1, 2, 3 jumps away. So we know it's only 3 away from 40, but 37 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 jumps away from 30. So we know that 37 will round up to 40. You can also write down what we did the other day, underline the 3, look at its friend to the right. This is 5 or more, so we raise the score. So that 3 would become 4, and this 7, it did its job, so it leaves for the night and leaves a 0. So it's closer to 40. You can do it that way. You can also use a number line. So the halfway point between 30 and 40 is 35, and that's another way you can look at this. 37 is past 35. So since it's past 35, it is also closer to 40. Okay, so now, where it gets tricky is they'll have a number like this, and I'm sorry if this is kind of blurry, but the number 943 is between what two tens? So I look here, and I didn't read the directions because I'm just going through to show you what I think you need to know for today. But I say here's the number 943, and I need to know between what two tens it is placed. So for now, you're going to ignore that 9 and pretend you see 43. So on your chart, you go find the number 43. Now, there's a 4 in the tens place, so I know it has to come after 40, and if I look at the chart, that's correct. Here's 40, and then I go 41, 42, 43. So it comes after 40, and it is before the tens, or the number 50 in the tens place. So this is between 40 and 50. So for number 2, I would write 40 and 50. Okay, you're not doing this page, I'm just teaching from it. What number is halfway between those two tens? So I go find 40 and 50, and in between is where those green numbers are highlighted. So there's 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. 45 is halfway. So I write 45 on number 3's line. Then it asks, is 943 less than or greater than? So is it less than or greater than the halfway number? So I'm going to go look for 45. And they asked, is 943 less than or half than? Well, since it's before 45, it is less than. It is smaller. We say less than in class. Okay, so I'm writing less than. Do you round 943 up or down? Well, since it's less than the halfway point, we round down. So I write down. And then what is 943 rounded to the nearest 10? So here's where things get tricky. Okay, so I'm going to show you both ways. So 43 rounds down. So we have to go back to the 10 before it. So we know that your number is going to end in 40. And that 900 still exists. So I have to put that there. Now the other way that we taught it in class yesterday is we write the number. Since we're rounding to the nearest 10, I would underline the 4. And then I would look to its friend on the right-hand side, no matter where it's at. This is 4 or less, so we let 4 rest. 4 does nothing, he sleeps. Okay? 3 did its job and told 4 what to do, so he leaves for the night. And then 9 is still there since we did nothing to it. So we got the same answer. Okay, so you would have to explain in writing how you round a number to the nearest 10. So you would say, you would start with, I round a number to the nearest 10. You can start out your sentence like that. You can say, I know how to round a number to the nearest 10 because you just need to start it with complete thought. Okay, so there are more questions if you want to practice before your actual work. So the actual page that you're going to do, sorry, my mask is